From today on, not everything you hear will be the truth. Mercury enters Scorpio, and the universe begins to whisper in code. Can you read between the lines? Prepare yourself. The tone of the world's communication is changing. The superficial clarity, the direct conversations, and the declared honesty give way to a new language, one that is older, deeper, and infinitely more revealing. The language of subtext. Today, Mercury, the planet of the mind and of the word, dives into the dark and magnetic waters of Scorpio, and with this movement, our perception is recalibrated. We are no longer content with what is said. Our soul begins to search for what is being hidden. This is not a period for casual conversations. It is a period for psychic investigation. Your mind, from today on, becomes a detection tool, a radar for the subterranean truths that hide beneath the surface of every interaction. Someone's silence will become more eloquent than a speech. The word that was not spoken will become the key. The glance that averts for a second will reveal the entire story. The universe is not trying to confuse you. It is inviting you to a deeper level of perception, initiating you into the art of decoding reality. What we will do together in this 6-chapter journey is learn to read this code. But this is knowledge for those who are ready. It is a revelation that requires courage. If you are ready to see what is hidden, declare your intention in the comments. I can see what's hidden. With your commitment sealed, let us begin to unravel the first secret. From today on, reality gains a new layer. The surface of things, of conversations, of interactions, begins to lose its importance. It is as if, until now, we were listening to the world through a poorly tuned radio, paying attention only to the loudest and most obvious melody, ignoring the static and the whispers underneath. The entry of Mercury into Scorpio adjusts the tuner with a relentless precision. Suddenly, we begin to hear the lower frequencies, the subtones, the hidden vibration that was always there, but that the noise of the world prevented us from hearing. Everything begins to seem deeper, denser, with a double meaning. The superficial becomes unbearably boring. The hidden becomes magnetically attractive. This is the installation of a new energetic language. Your mind from today on ceases to be just a translator of words and becomes a decoder of intentions. You will begin to realize that the words people say are just the tip of the iceberg, the facade, the performance. The true meaning is in the energy that accompanies them. You may be in a work meeting and hear someone say, "Yes, I agree with the plan," but your body, your intuition, will feel the vibration of resistance, of envy, or of dishonesty behind the sentence. You may receive a sweet-worded text message from a partner, but you will feel the coldness, the omission, the energetic calculation. Nothing is what it seems anymore because, for the first time, you are being invited to see beyond the appearance. This change is not just a new sensitivity. It is the awakening of a new faculty of your mind. Think of your mind, until now, as a scholar who reads books. It learns, it memorizes, it quotes facts. From today on, it becomes a detective, a psychic spy. Its function is no longer to accumulate information, but to search for the truth behind the information. This detective mind does not operate with visible evidence, but with the hidden vibration. You begin to realize that every person, every place, every word emits a frequency, and your mind, now tuned to the depth of Scorpio, can feel the resonance or the dissonance of that frequency with a frightening precision. A business proposal may seem perfect on paper, but its vibration sounds like desperation. A person may seem charming, but their energy smells of a hidden intention. This is the beginning of your journey as a decoder. The shift into depth is the first step out of the illusion of the surface and into the power of the subterranean truths. Your job in the coming days is not to question this new sensitivity or to fear it as if it were paranoia. On the contrary, it is to honor it as your new compass. Trust the dissonance you feel in your stomach when someone tells you a story that seems too perfect. Trust the vibration that the words bring you, more than their literal meaning. You are learning to read the code. And the first lesson, which will be your anchor for all that follows, is this. The truth is not spoken, it is felt. The world is communicating with you on a much deeper level. Your only task is to have the courage to listen to what is being said in the silence. Now that your mind has awakened to the depth behind the surface, the universe begins to teach you the grammar of your new language. And the first rule of this language is this. The most crucial information is rarely found in what is said, but in what is silenced. The entry of Mercury into Scorpio initiates us into the language of shadows. It is the art of reading the pauses, of deciphering the gestures, and of understanding that silence is often the most honest answer. Today, your perception is invited to turn away from the noise of words and to focus on the immense wisdom that resides between the lines. Think of silence. In our culture, silence is often seen as a void, an awkward space that needs to be filled. Today, you will realize that silence is an entity. It has weight, it has texture, and above all, it has a message. Observe the silence that follows a difficult question you ask someone. That silence is not an absence of an answer. It is the answer. It is the hesitation, the truth being calculated, the resistance to emerging. Observe the silence that sets in when a certain name or topic is mentioned in a group. That silence is a force field, full of unspoken agreements, of shared secrets. The energy of Mercury in Scorpio teaches us to listen to what the silence is screaming. Next, pay attention to what is omitted. The language of shadows is the master of omission. It is the story that someone tells you, but where a crucial detail is missing. It is the compliment that validates one part of your work, but that conveniently ignores the most important part. It is the answer that answers everything except the question you actually asked. Your detective mind today is trained to notice these blank spaces. The omission is not forgetfulness. It is a deliberate act of concealment. And for those who know how to read, what is not said shines brighter than any word. Your task is to notice these gaps, these holes in the narrative, for it is precisely in them that the subterranean truth is hidden. Finally, observe the gestures, the silent communication of the body. The body does not know how to lie. The mouth may be saying yes, but the body leans back. The eyes may be smiling, but there is no light in them. The hands may be still, but the fingers tap with a contained agitation. Your perception today is tuned to this body language. You begin to see the dissonance between the verbal performance and the physical truth. This is the final layer of decoding, to understand that the entire body is a voice. Why does this change in language happen now? Because the energy of Mercury in Scorpio creates a temporary discredit of the spoken word. It shows us that verbal communication, which we value so much, is in fact a limited tool and often a tool of concealment. Promises can be empty, compliments can be false, facts can be manipulated. By making us hyper-aware of the dissonance between what is said and what is felt, the universe is forcing us to evolve. It is training us to trust in an older and truer sense, our intuition. This phase is an upgrade to our perception system, moving us from a naive trust in the word to a mastery in reading energy. This is today's journey. It is an invitation to become fluent in the language of shadows, to find information not in the noise, but in the stillness. It is the training to hear the truths whispered in the dark. By mastering this language, you cease to be a passive receiver of words and become an active perceiver of truths. After learning the grammar of the language of shadows, your journey of decoding now enters its most advanced and most intimate level. The energy of Mercury in Scorpio is not content to just show you the external clues. It wants to give you the ability to see the source. The third chapter of our initiation is not about reading between the lines. It is about reading the soul directly. Today and in the days that follow, you may begin to notice the awakening of a new sense, a psychic faculty that has been dormant. It is as if your eyes are beginning to see with emotional X-rays. What is this experience? It is the ability to look at a person and to perceive their emotional state and their true intention, regardless of the mask they are wearing or the words they are uttering. The social performance, the facade of friendliness, the corporate speech, all of it becomes transparent. You no longer need to decipher the silence or the omission to find the truth, because you begin to feel the truth directly, like a frequency, a color, a temperature. It is a visceral and immediate knowing. Think of this in a practical way. You are in a conversation with a friend who tells you that they are happy about your success. The words are supportive. The smile is in place. But your emotional X-rays show you a clear image of a pang of envy or sadness. You do not judge it. You just see it. You are speaking with a boss who praises your work, but you can feel like an electric current their insecurity or their fear of losing control. You're interacting with a partner who says everything is fine, but you feel the weight of their unsaid grievance as if it were a dense cloud in the room. This is not an interpretation or a suspicion. It is a perception. It is your Mercury in Scorpio giving you direct access to the emotional database of the unified field. But herein lies the great test of this new power. To see the hidden truth of others is not an easy gift. It brings with it a burden and an immense responsibility. The first consequence is loneliness. By starting to see a layer of reality that others do not see, you can feel isolated. The superficiality of normal conversations becomes almost unbearable. The second consequence is pain. To see the pain, the insecurity, and the inauthenticity hidden in the people you love can be painful. Ignorance, at times, is a blessing, and the loss of that blessing is the price of clarity. And this is the test that the universe presents to you. The more one sees, the more responsibility there is. Your new ability to see the hidden truth was not given to you so that you could become a judge or an executioner. The temptation to use this information, to confront, to expose, to say, "I know what you are really feeling," is immense. But that is the ego's trap, the shadow side of scorpionic power. The true mastery, the true purpose of this gift is to use it to cultivate compassion and to establish wiser boundaries. To see the insecurity behind someone's arrogance is not an invitation to attack them, but to understand them and not to take their behavior personally. To see a friend's envy is not to accuse them, but to understand their pain and to protect your own energy. The emotional X-rays are not a weapon. They are a map to your own wisdom and to your own peace. After the veil has fallen, after the language of shadows has been learned, and after our emotional X-rays have been activated, we arrive at the true test of Mercury in Scorpio. This is not a test of perception, but of character. The power to see what is hidden, to feel the truth behind the masks, is one of the most potent psychic abilities we can develop. But all power comes with a shadow, a temptation. And the temptation of Mercury in Scorpio is to use this knowledge not to liberate, but to control. Think about this. By perceiving the hidden insecurity of your boss, you gain an advantage. By feeling the secret envy of a friend, you have a weapon. By understanding the unsaid power dynamic in a relationship, you have the map to manipulate the situation in your favor. The energy of Scorpio, in its lowest vibration, is that of the strategist who uses secret information to win the game. The power to read the invisible can be intoxicating, and our ego can easily be seduced into using it to feel superior, to predict the movements of others, to corner them with their own truths. And this is the test. It is here that the script turns and asks you the most uncomfortable and most important question of all. What do you do with what you discover? This question is your turning point. Your answer to it will define whether this transit will be an initiation into your mastery or a descent into your own shadow. The universe did not give you this gift so that you could become a psychic spy, collecting the secrets and weaknesses of others for your own gain. It gave you this gift so that you could become wiser, more compassionate, and more sovereign in your own life. To use someone's hidden truth, to publicly confront, expose, or shame them, is the path of the shadow. It is an act that, while it may seem powerful at the moment, only creates more karma, more distrust, and imprisons you in an endless power game. The true strength, the mastery of Scorpio, lies in the silent and strategic use of this knowledge. It is to see your boss's insecurity and, instead of exploiting it, to choose to interact with them in a way that makes them feel less threatened. It is to feel your friend's envy and, instead of accusing them, to choose to protect your energy and perhaps show them compassion for their pain. It is to use your knowledge of the hidden truth not as a sword to attack, but as a shield to protect yourself, and as a light to guide your own actions with more wisdom. Today's test is not about how well you can read others. It is about how well you can control yourself. After we have navigated the temptation of power and the moral test that our new perception has presented to us, the journey of Mercury in Scorpio leads us to its final destination, to its most intimate and most feared confrontation, the confrontation with ourselves. The ability to read what is hidden in others, to see their secret motivations and their unsaid truths, was just the training. The real initiation, the true purpose of this energy, happens when we turn that same lens of emotional X-rays inward. The investigative and relentless energy of today is not content to just unravel the secrets of the outer world. Its final mission is to unearth the deepest and most well-guarded truth of all, the one that we, with an immense and continuous effort, hide from ourselves. Think about this. What is the truth that you know, but that you pretend every day not to know? What is the elephant in the room of your own soul that you walk around, that you decorate, but that you refuse to name? For some, it is the truth that the relationship they are in, which seems safe and stable on the surface, no longer has life, and that staying is an act of fear, not of love. For others, it is the truth that the professional path they have chosen, and in which they have invested years of effort, is a fraud for their soul, a search for a validation that will never fulfill them. For others still, it is the hardest truth of all, that their unhappiness, their stagnation, is not the fault of external circumstances, but the direct result of their own choices, of their own fears, of their own refusal to assume their power. These are our repressed truths. They are the secrets we keep not from others, but from ourselves. Why do we do this? Why do we spend such an immense amount of life force to keep these truths submerged? Because our ego has a primordial fear of death. And the acceptance of one of these truths is, in its essence, a death. It is the death of the identity of the person in a stable relationship. It is the death of the identity of the successful professional. It is the death of the identity of the innocent victim. The ego prefers the familiarity of a known prison to the frightening freedom of an unknown territory. It builds complex architectures of denial, of rationalization, of distraction, all to protect us from the discomfort of transformation. The pressure of Mercury in Scorpio today is a seismic force, a tectonic pressure that shakes this architecture to its foundations, that creates fissures in the wall of our denial. The climax of today, therefore, is not about exposing others, but about facing what was hidden within you. And this confrontation, as you indicated, is introspective and silent. It is not a scream, it is a whisper that becomes deafening. It is that moment, perhaps in the silence of the night, or looking at your own reflection in the mirror, when the performance becomes impossible. The excuses lose their force, the distractions lose their charm, and in the stillness, the truth emerges, not as a thought, but as a surrender, as a physical certainty. The mask falls, not for the audience, but for the only person who matters. It is the moment when you finally admit to yourself, without flourishes, the raw and naked truth. This moment is of an indescribable pain and beauty. The pain comes from the grief for the lost illusion, for the comfortable story you told yourself. But immediately following the pain comes a wave of liberation that is almost dizzying. It is the relief. It is the release from the exhaustion of sustaining a lie. It is the recovery of all the energy that was spent every day repressing what was obvious. The secret that today's code reveals is not that of another, it is yours. And by facing it, you do not find your weakness, but your most unshakable power, the power of your own uncompromising truth. We have reached the end of our decoding journey. We have crossed the layers of communication, learned to read the language of shadows, felt the power and the weight of the emotional X-rays, faced the temptation of control, and finally, confronted our own repressed truth. The initiation is complete, and now, what once seemed like a mystery, a complex and indecipherable code, reveals itself in its simplicity. The secret code of Mercury and Scorpio is not a language you need to learn, but a perception that you have now awakened. It is a new way of being in the world, one that is governed by three fundamental truths. The first truth is, now every word is a spell. You can no longer use words lightly. You understand that every word you utter, charged with your intention and your energy, is an act of creation, a spell that you cast upon your own reality and that of others. A word of criticism is not just an opinion, it is a curse that can diminish someone's energy. A word of recognition is not just a compliment, it is a blessing that can lift someone's spirit. Your voice, now aligned with your scorpionic depth, has become a magic wand. The invitation from today on is to become a conscious magician, to choose each spell with the utmost precision and responsibility. The second truth is every silence, a response. You have learned that silence is not a void. It is a space full of information. It is the most honest answer that hesitation can give. It is the clearest boundary that the refusal to engage can draw. From now on, you no longer fear silence. You read it. You understand it as an essential part of the dialogue, often the most important one. You have learned to find the truth not in the noise, but in the quality of the pause, in the resonance of the stillness. The third and final truth is every connection, a code. You no longer interact with the masks, you interact with the souls. Your perception, now refined, reads the energy, the intention, the hidden emotion behind every interaction. Every handshake, every glance, every conversation is an exchange of energetic data, a code that reveals the true nature of the connection. You are no longer fooled by the surface. You feel the resonance or the dissonance. You feel the alignment or the misalignment. And this perception is your greatest protection and your surest guide. Word, silence, and connection. This is the code. It is not hidden in ancient books or in secret doctrines. It has always been here, vibrating beneath the surface of reality. The gift of Mercury in Scorpio was simply to give you the ears to hear it and the eyes to see it. Our journey through the secret code comes to its conclusion, but your initiation into the language of shadows has only just begun. Today, your perception has been permanently altered. You have dived beyond the surface of words and learned to read the grammar of silence, of emission, and of vibration. You have felt the awakening of your emotional X-rays, the ability to see the truth behind the masks. And you have been confronted with the immense responsibility that this power entails. And most importantly, you were led to the final and most intimate confrontation, that of facing your own repressed truth, the secret that you were hiding from yourself. The gift of Mercury in Scorpio is not a set of answers, it is a new set of senses. You do not leave this journey with a map, but with a more refined internal compass. Your mind is no longer just a processor of facts. It has become a decoder of realities. The world has not changed, but the way you perceive it has been transformed forever. You are no longer a passive receiver of communication. You are an active participant in the hidden dance of intention and of power. Your task from today on is to continue to practice this new language, to trust in your perception, and to use your new vision not to control, but to liberate. Remember the final truth, the key that opens all the doors. The code is not out there. It is not hidden in secret books. Your journey of decoding was, in fact, a journey back to yourself. If this message helped you see the invisible patterns behind this week, anchor it. Like this video, share it with someone who's been feeling the silence louder than words. And to seal your initiation, declare your new ability in the comments. I can see what's hidden. And remember, the code is already within you. Don't forget to subscribe. The universe is always whispering its secrets, and we will continue to learn to listen to them together.